Kirsten, how are you today?
Good. I'm very good. And just for the FYIs, it's Kirsten.
Kirsten, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
That's
okay. It happens all the time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, what can I say? What better way to finish to kind of finish an epic day with someone as badass and talented? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it as well. So, welcome to the show. It is so amazing to have you here. And, starting with the whole interview now and the questions, tell me how your passion for acting started.
Well, it started in high school. I come from small town Kansas, so I was able to do a little of everything. But I got to see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, and that kind of changed. Like, that was when it was like, ooh, I love this. But it was kind of gradual. Like, that kind of geared me into it. Then in college, I did.
Totally.
I got to do The Women of Lockerbie, and that was such a beautiful play. And that really kind of inspired me to want to go into acting. So I got a performing arts degree. And then I was in South Korea for a year and a half. And
wow.
I was lucky enough I got to do the Vagina Monologues. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I've heard of it.
Yes,
yeah.
Brilliant. Definitely worth, happy, sad, funny, all of it. All of it's in that. And I got to do the Spotlight monologue, which every year they add a Spotlight monologue that goes along with something that's going on currently. And it was a very powerful piece. And I think it was in that moment and working with the people that I worked with that I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. This is what I want to do all the time. So, that's kind of where it all started.
Such an epic start. And what I find it interesting is that, it just take back when you were either in high school, you don't know basically what are you gonna do with your life, and then something comes up, you like it, and then once you realize that you can actually make a living of it, that is pretty cool. And the fact that it is something that you like, I do believe that when you do that, you don't feel pressure. I mean, you will feel stress, but it's like a different taste of stress. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's stressful. This career is not easy. It's for sure stressful, but it's the only kind of stress that I would want in my life.
Yeah. I love it. And what were some of the challenges that you had when you were, recently started with your acting career? I think we all have them, right? Whenever we start something new, at first we just don't know what the hell we're doing, basically. So, so for you, what were some of those challenges?
I think coming from small town and doing smaller community things, it just kind of worked out for me. I knew the people, whatever. Moving to Atlanta was a pretty big shock because it wasn't just I remember the first stage audition I went to, I don't remember even what it was for or who was directing. It was at Horizon Theater is all I remember. And I thought I did well. I left and the director came out and was like, the next girl up, they're like, oh my gosh, hugging and everything. I was like, oh yeah, I have to work for this here. So I think just learning what that takes, learning what that work is, what is productive, what is useful. And now I think one of the biggest challenges is balancing everything in my life. But if that's my worst problem, then I'm doing pretty good, I think.
I believe that as well. And starting a little bit with your performances, so you were in Wake, On a Train to Hell, on Mask, Void, Breakout. I mean, the list goes on and on, which is really cool. But what can you tell me from those first acting experiences and what you were able to learn from them?
Yeah. So what's funny is Awake and Unmasked were 48-hour horror film festival shorts.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And those were kind of my first things that I did here in Atlanta, film-wise. And I worked with Naz Pankey, and I've since worked with her. I absolutely adore her. Brilliant, has just such a passion for this industry. So she was such a great initial connection to make. And a 48-hour film, like whatever you're doing, but 48 hours of this it's insane. That's an insane thing to do.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But it was, you know, it was so cool. And that was, you know, my introduction to like the hurry up and wait, you know? And just like learning to like, I don't know, you may have stayed up all night and not shot anything. And then it's 7 a.m. and you've got to do all your scenes in an hour. Like, you know, it was just like learning how to be on in that minute. Which was really, really awesome. Void was fun because that was Tyler Trump, I believe wrote and directed that, and he was a younger guy, and that was my introduction into being mothers and like the sad mom.
Okay.
I do either, that's kind of my brand, is either like funny, goofy, ridiculous, or like depressing sad mom. Which is fun. And then breakups was really cool because that I actually wrote.
Okay.
And so that was a huge learning curve for me because I've dabbled in writing and I would like to do more of it. But that was the first time that I was seeing like what I have vision in my head. It's not always going to line up just the way it works in the film industry, you know, whether lighting or setup or whatever. So yeah, that was really awesome. And Vanya, who directed it, is just wonderful. And she was a grad student at SCAD at the moment. So it was like her grad project. And so that was really awesome to get to do. And I love that was a story that we got to tell. So
yeah, I can understand that. And like how you usually prepare a character. Now I understand, of course, that most of the time depends on the role. But what usually kind of sets you up, you know, into this, let's say, journey of creating a character?
Yeah, that's, you know, like kind of one of the most exciting parts, in my opinion, is like prepping it. I took a class, Get Out of Your Head, the Viewpoints class with Ileana. Oh, and I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm not even going to try. And Clayton Landley. And I remember Clayton talking about once he gets a script, he reads it 10 times through before even making any decisions about the character. And that really stuck with me. So I read and reread and read and reread, and then start to develop background, which is really important, and finding ways to connect your history and who you are with that character. And then I do a lot of pacing. I like to go on walks and memorize my lines and like work through that, because it kind of gets, you know, whether it's what's visually around you is kind of distracting, and the physical movement of doing something different than what your character would actually be doing at the time. Those are kind of my favorite ways, but just constantly working and playing with the lines and the character and the script. It's fun.
You know, like one of the cool things that I found that I love about you know, like when actors are on the process of creating a character, is the fact that you have to put like a background. So let's say that you're gonna play a character of 30, 35, 28, right? So you need to put a background into that character, like try to see like what kind of childhood this guy has, you know, like all of those sort of things. And I find it interesting how every actor has like a different thing here and there. For example, some of them will take from past experiences, or some of them will I remember that there's this actress that I interviewed that she told me that she would just go for a coffee and try to see people that could relate to the character that she's gonna play, and she will watch like how the person walks or talks or stuff like that, and then you start to get like an idea here. So I find it very interesting. Some people might think that it's just learning your lines, and which is not. So
no, I mean that's obviously really important, right? Totally. Like, you know, and that's I coach with the actor scene, and I also coach with Sketchworks comedy, and doing sketch comedy really helped me understand working characters and really observing. And that is it's so much. I love to observe the way people move and, you know, what they're doing, and then to like try and understand why they do it, right? You know, why would you maybe flip your hair as opposed to just tucking it back? Something easy like that, right? That's super easy. And and it's something I talk to, you know, when I coach at the actor scene a lot, is that I explain to kids, like, there's always going to be a line where you're like, why is this character saying that? Like, that, like, it doesn't seem like it's needed, or, you know, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand. Like, so creating that background and like really learning who that character is helps you deliver those lines in a way that makes sense. And that's amazing. It's an amazing process, I think.
Yeah, I love it. And moving on, you were in Get Over It, The New Princess, Matchstruck. But what do you think, on your experience, what do you think is important for storytelling? Like what aspect would you say that is super needed when you are in this process of storytelling?
When you're in this process of storytelling, like, I think it's so important to work with people that you trust. Okay. To get the job done and do it the way, you know, have a shared vision. Because it's not just one person, right? Like, even if, you know, like, the New Princess sketch, which is just it's so ridiculous. That thing is over the moon ridiculous. And such a joy and a treat to do. Ashley Keith, that was her first directorial debut, and she did phenomenal. And she edited it, and, you know, I think did a lot of the writing on it. And but it wasn't just her. She brought in a group of people that she believed in and trusted to show up and do our jobs. And so we just got to dress up as princesses all day and just have a ball of it. And, you know, and the other two story, like Matchstruck and Get Over It, are, you know, the princess sketches, all humor. It's, you know, literally just absolute ridiculousness. The other two are much more very dealing with mental health in different ways, and grief and pain. And same thing goes into that. Like, trusting the group that you're with in those moments is so important, because you're dealing with such emotional stuff. And to have that support group there is really, really important to tell a beautiful story. And that's those two were both really fun to be a part of.
I love it. And if you had to describe a movie in which all of the characters you have played at the moment for a party, tell me what would be the name of that film.
Okay, I thought about this one. I didn't think of a film, but I thought of a TV show. Okay. It's actually the episode of a TV show, and it's called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if you watched that show. There's an episode called The Gang Squashes Their Beef. Okay. But it's essentially they've invited everybody who they have beef with.
Yeah, it's okay.
To like a Thanksgiving dinner so that they can like squash their beef, right? And it's just like literally all these different characters. Because movie-wise and stuff, I've done, you know, it's a lot of kind of the same, like drug addict or, you know, sad, depressed mom, or, you know, roles like that. But because I do a lot of sketch comedy, I've done crazy off the wall characters. So I love the idea of all of those characters sitting down to dinner and it just being a complete mess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like that's exactly how it would go. Just because the different personalities would probably not get along.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, definitely that would be that would be something I would enjoy to watch for sure.
yeah, it would definitely end in like a big someone's losing a finger, something's bad, like a fire story, something bad's happening at the end of that for sure.
Okay. Now, what about describing your whole career at the moment on a movie, TV show, book, play, even a musical? Why not? What would be the title of your career at the moment?
And it's also because I'm rewatching all this, but my career at the moment, I would call it Stranger Things.
Okay.
I would base it off that. Just one, because of like, I feel like the acting world is, I mean, obviously the upside down is like dangerous and scary and bad, but like, I feel like being an actor and living in that world as opposed to like the reality world is so totally, it's like living in a totally different realm and totally different life. Okay. But also I just feel like you never know what's going to happen next. Like I could wake up tomorrow with a call from my agent that I booked something I auditioned for 2 months ago and completely forgot about. Right.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's completely strange. There's no one path. There's no one direction. And I think that's kind of one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned through it all is that like my career is never going to look like anybody else's career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my path there is going to be different. So Stranger Things just seemed very fitting.
Yeah, and like, you know what, like I can totally vouch for that, because for all of the actors that I've interviewed, everyone has a different everyone's career is totally different, and that is something that I found really really unique, you know, like really like really cool. And especially these days, right, that we will have like a lot of people who want to be who instead of want to do themselves, they want to copycat somebody else, you know. And they want to try to be somebody else, and at the end, because it's not them, it's not honest, people eventually hate it, or even don't even pay attention to it. The fact that you are you basically, and you are creating your own career on your own experiences and stuff like that. That's what makes it unique, I would say. And it's I think, you know, when you start like comparing yourself to how someone else is doing, whether it's, you know, an A-list celebrity or someone that's like at the same tier I am, like when you start comparing yourself, and you know, you're gonna get down, right? Because this is an industry of rejection. Like you're gonna get down, and then you're gonna get bitter. And I've definitely hit those marks before, which is, it's not fun. You're not being productive for yourself. You're not being productive for anyone else. And in those moments, I've just really appreciated anyone that's kind of snapped me out of it, or, you know, whoever's kind of helped bring me out of that. That's always lovely. But comparing yourself to any other actor, that's a surefire way to just hate everything about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about describing your career on a drink or even a meal? Which one would you choose?
Oh, yeah. I liked this question because I love food and I love drinks. There is a Korean drink called soju.
Okay.
And it is like, the way I describe it, I don't know if this is correct, but it's how I've always described it, is that it's like a less of a taste than vodka, so you're not tasting it as much, but it's a very higher potency. So the reason I feel like that describes my career is it's sneaky. You never know when it's gonna hit, and it's delightful, and it's, you know, it's always a good time. It's always a good time to have as a drink.
Okay.
And that's how I feel about my career. It's, you know, it sneaks up on you. You've got to put the work in, and it's always a delight no matter what's happening.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I like that. You know, at some point, I'm kind of definitely, like, from all of the actors that I've interviewed and asking this question about their drink, about describing their career on a drink, at some point, I'm planning to have, like, I mean, not all of them, because I'm gonna die for sure, but like at least some of them, you know, and trying to taste all of the drinks that I've said, because some of them are really cool. Like, soju is definitely worth a try, but it's like one you'll take if like because you usually do a shot of it, but you know, you can mix it, but it's one that like you don't feel right away, and you're like, oh,
this is nice. I like this. And then if you're not careful, it'll knock you on your butt. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Which
Now,
this industry, if you're not careful in this industry, that's what it'll do. So.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Totally. Now, like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days in which we just want to quit. You know, as you just mentioned before, that you will start to compare yourself. I mean, like, getting inside into all of these toxic thoughts, it's way too easy.
Yeah.
But what usually gets you out of it? You know, what usually puts your feet back on the ground so you can continue creating your own your own growth through acting.
Yeah, I love this question because it's scary. There are times when it's just so hard that you just don't want to do it anymore. But I think just in life and like getting to know people and getting to know myself more is finding people's passions and seeing that. And so, you know, if I'm having a hard time, I'll put on a movie like The Matrix, which seems silly, but like Trinity, like Carrie-Anne Moss's Trinity, like that is passion. The way she plays that character and who she is as that character motivates me because I see her passion as an actor taking that role seriously, and that character is beautiful, and it motivates me to want to work harder to be a character like that. But even just I absolutely love, it's my favorite thing about talking to people is when you find their passions, which I assume you see this all the time talking to people about acting, because we're talking about what we're passionate about and it lights us up. So whether it's acting or just like Star Wars or, you know, a collector's item that you have, like whatever it is, whether it's really cool or just kind of nerdy, anytime someone geeks out on something passionately, it motivates me. It's like passion for anything is so inspiring to be around. So there's a few podcasts that I'll listen to where you hear people talk about things that they're passionate about, or certain shows, certain movies, or just, you know, sitting down at a coffee shop or a bar and have a beer with someone and just, you know, find out what motivates them, what gets them going. And it's contagious. Once you like start hearing that, it's someone lighting up is really contagious, and that's awesome. So those are what I shoot for. And, you know, when it's hard to even like find that, I have like my sisters and some, you know, a couple of my best friends that I know I can call immediately and chat with and get that little pick me up, get that, you know, drive going again. Okay. Yeah.
And my last question here is, what can we expect from you in the future?
Oof. I have actually, and that's what was so exciting about today, is I have some like awesome things happening. I am in a 3-person play coming up in July, which is going to be awesome, called Pizza Man. It's with Authenticity Theater, which is a brand new theater company. And it's going to be their debut show. I'm very excited about that. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm also in a sketch comedy video group called Feminine Odor, and we just filmed our next round of sketches, and it's all absolute absurdity, ridiculousness, as weird and fun as you can make it be. And it's with Crystal Lowe and Sana Erica, and I just adore the two of them. They're so creative. So I'm very excited about those coming out. I'm also a part of a group called Sketchworks Comedy, and we did a parody musical of Grease called Vape in 2017. And we got handed a cease and desist letter. We tried to take it to New York in 2019, and we got a cease and desist letter. And today, we officially won our lawsuit. So hopefully we'll be able to perform Vape again, because it's so hilarious. Katie Hogan was the main writer on that, and just brilliantly funny. And then one of my newest things that I'm doing that I'm very, very excited about, because it's a whole new thing, it's called the Venus Patrol Project.
Okay.
And we are getting ready to launch a scripted podcast, which I am one of the main 3 characters in. And we call it's Venus Patrol, the podcast, but it started as a feature film, and the 2 guys working on it, like they changed it and they brought me on. So now I'm an official producer of it, which is really exciting because that's a new hat to wear, and that's exhausting and a lot, and full of new information, but it's so wonderful. And that's with John D. Babcock III and Ted Westby. And they came to me with the idea of the scripted podcast, and we started talking about it, and kind of mentioning some things here and there, and we all 3 love the idea. But the more people we reached out to about it, we reached out and got a hold of Heidi Rowe at Atlanta Voiceover Studio. So now we're working with Atlanta Voiceover Studio to put that out there. We've got Amber Nash is going to be a part of it, who voices Pam on Archer. Rose Bianco is going to be a part of it, who's done, I don't know if there's a single thing that's filmed in Atlanta that she hasn't been a part of. And then just a lot, Atlanta Voiceover Studio then helped us, cast the rest of the lineup. And yeah, every time we had a meeting earlier today, and every time we have a producers meeting about it, it's just more and more amazing stuff, amazing things happening for it. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what's going to happen and where that's going to go.
Totally.
And it's just awesome. It's a really entertaining story too. So.
I love it. And what can I say? Your career is badass, basically. Your career is super badass. The fact that you have accomplished so many cool things, and so many cool things that are about to happen in the future, that is super epic. And I'm super sure that eventually, it's obvious, we all know that at some point we're gonna, the whole world is gonna know about you, like from continent to continent, because what you do, it is really cool and also inspiring. And as we were talking this, the fact that you're doing it on your own, discovering new things for your career, and at the same time that is yours, that it's not like the copy of somebody else's. The fact that you're doing it on your own, that is really cool and inspiring. And what can I say? I'm super sure that eventually it's gonna blow up, and we're basically gonna see you everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. Yeah, put that manifest. Put it out there.
There you go. And also, I want to thank those for watching this right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this either later, either here on Instagram or later on YouTube or listening in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow this amazing, talented, badass, super actress that I'm speaking right now with. Follow her. Let's make her viral. Let's make sure everybody knows about her awesome work. And before I send you off, I send you off properly with an epic send off. If you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what it's about to happen. If not, then I can surprise you, so that's even better. So let me show you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. You know how we go. I promise that at some point we're gonna have like audience, but you know how it goes. We're still on hustling. But in the meantime, thank you so much. Keep killing it. Keep being awesome. Keep being super badass. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much, Dan. This was so lovely.
I love it. So take care and have a great upcoming weekend.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.